we're going to talk about the 10 superfoods that help with blood pressure. Okay, 10 superfoods. Number 1, cacao. Now, I know y'all all heard of cacao. That's raw chocolate. Cacao. Why cacao? Cacao is rich in magnesium. Cacao has phytochemicals in there that actually dilate the blood vessels. Now, what did we just talk about high blood pressure is? High blood pressure, when you're reading it, you're talking about the pressure on the arteries. The higher the blood pressure is, the more pressure you're putting on your arteries, the more damage you're causing, okay? We're talking about cacao. Cacao does what? It has a natural effect of dilating the blood vessels. Why do you want the blood vessels to be dilated and relaxed? Because it reduces the blood pressure. It literally reduces the pressure off the arterial walls. So raw cacao that you can find in your health food store is excellent for doing that. Raw cacao has tons of antioxidants. Raw cacao, COCOA, is extremely good for actually helping you to deal with stress. You ever hear somebody say, man, I'm stressed out, I could use a piece of chocolate? Well, it is true. Cacao has flavonoids in it that help your body deal with stress better. As well as cacao is carcinogenic as far as anti-cancer. It's really good for keeping cholesterol under control and things like that. But cacao, extremely helpful for lowering blood pressure. Okay? And it's a superfood. So we're going to talk about the superfoods first. So that's number 1, cacao. Number 2, I'm putting this under a superfood because now you can find it everywhere in powder, gummies, and capsules. Beets. Even though beet is a vegetable, nowadays it's considered a superfood, especially for blood pressure. Oh my God, beets are excellent for you. If you can juice them, excellent. If you cannot juice them, you can cook them, pretty good. If you can buy them in a powder, excellent. You can buy them in a capsule, that's pretty good. Beets dilate the blood vessel. They do something the same thing cacao does. It dilates the blood vessel, but it does it differently. Beets does it under the process of making the body create more nitric oxide. And you ever seen the movies where the people, the Joker's having a heart attack, help me, and they're having a heart attack, grabbing the heart, and what they do, the guy pulls out a small little tablet, put it under each eye, he chews it, he's breathing, now he can catch his breath and stuff like that. This always happens in all the movies, right? Those are nitric oxide tablets that they're giving these people. That's actually a medication. Nitric oxide does this to the blood vessels. It literally goes in and spreads them open. It opens up the blood vessels, okay? Reducing the pressure. If you're having a heart attack, you want the nitric oxide to open up your coronary arteries so it allows more blood to flow to the heart to reduce the the heart attack. Well, it does the same thing when it comes down to blood pressure. It reduces the pressure off the arteries. Beets naturally make your body create this, okay? Now, you get better results from the beets if you juice it or get it in powder and all that than necessarily eating it. The benefits come in the juice form of it, not as much as eating it. Now, you still get the benefits from eating, but most of the actual nitric oxide properties are created in the oral cavity, not in the gut. It is created in the oral cavity, okay? So you want to actually have the beet juice, not necessarily chewing it and all that. And then also a lot of those benefits are stuck in the fiber if you just eat it, okay? So beets. Beets are excellent for blood pressure. I mean, it's one of the best. Now, if you're diabetic, you may want to do the beet powder because the beet powder is usually lower in sugar than you juicing it yourself. Remember, beets are very sweet. So if you're diabetic, you may want to watch beets because beets are the second sweetest vegetable in the world. First is number 1 is carrots. Number 2 is beets, okay? So if you know, remember, they make sugar from beets. Sugar beets, beets, sugar beets, sugar. Remember that? I don't know if y'all, that came from Sesame Street. So, the 80s. The third thing, moringa. Moringa. Now, we all heard of moringa. Moringa is the African superfood. The funny thing is, most of the moringa you get on the market is not from Africa. It's actually from India. But it's still a great herb. It's still a great plant. Moringa is better known as the tree of life. Moringa has a tremendous amount of, what did we talk about earlier? Magnesium. It also has a great source of calcium. It has a great source of iron, Moringa helps lower the blood pressure. Doing moringa every day, you'll start noticing your blood pressure is coming much more under control. Now, moringa also has a powerful effect on cleansing the liver, and also depending on the type of moringa. Now, Indian moringa doesn't have the same cleansing effect as African moringa. African moringa, when you do it, man, when I do it, man, it flushes me out for the first couple of days, and then afterwards, my body adjusts to it about the fourth or fifth day, and it's good to go. But the first day, boy, it just has like a really strong cleansing effect. But it's very good for helping the low blood pressure. Moringa, you could get it in tea form, you could get it in the powder form. So moringa is number 3. Number 4 is another great African herb that I fell in love with. It's really not an herb, it's a fruit. It's called baobab. It's called baobab. Baobab, if you ever seen the tree of a baobab, it's a famous picture of, what's the trumpet player name? He had the album called Bitches Brew. And, oh man, what is it? Not John Coltrane. I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to be so upset about it. Dizzy Gillespie, that's right. But he has a picture in which he has, you can see the trees in Madagascar, and these massive trunk trees, and they come up and they spread out. Those are baobab trees. They're very famous trees. They used to have a line of these in Madagascar, right? Baobab trees. Baobab is a fruit. Thank you for letting me know that, Dizzy Gillespie. My father looking down from heaven would be upset with me. He should, boy, you should know that. Baobab is a fruit, and why do I love this fruit? The fruit is one of the highest sources of potassium in the world. Okay, so we already talked about how sodium, potassium, the counterbalance to sodium is potassium. Most people don't get enough potassium in their diet. Baobab is excellent source of potassium. Excellent source of potassium. Keeping the blood pressure much more stabilized and relaxing the heart. Baobab is also really high in fiber. Fiber, when you consume a lot of fibrous products, it also has an effect on lowering the blood pressure. And that is because fiber actually prevents certain things from getting absorbed. Okay? So fiber will pull out extra fat. Fiber can pull out extra, sometimes even extra electrolytes and things like that. So fiber is extremely effective for getting rid of unwanted material that the body does not need. Okay? So baobab is extremely rich in potassium. Baobab also has a lot of vitamin C in there and things like that. And we already talked about how vitamin C is very effective for protecting the heart and the blood vessels. So the 4th superfood is baobab. Number 5 is spirulina. We talked about spirulina as one of the superfoods. Spirulina is excellent for alkaline in the body, really good for detoxifying the liver, excellent for supplying you with tons of vitamins and minerals, gives you naturally occurring omega-3, one of the only plant sources of B12 out there, and spirulina has so many nutrients, it has actually been shown to help strengthen the kidneys, and when you strengthen the kidneys, you can help regulate blood pressure. Okay? Blood pressure is not just a heart thing. It's not just a heart issue, a cardiovascular issue. Blood pressure affects so many parts of the body. The number one place it affects outside of the heart and the arteries is your kidneys. High pressure can destroy the nephrons that filters blood in your kidneys. Okay? Spirulina strengthens the kidneys. Since your kidneys are healthier, able to allow you to filter out so much sodium, you get better effects when it comes down to blood pressure. Okay? So spirulina is number 5. Number 6. Even though this is not really a superfood, I'm giving you things that you walk into a health food store, you can find in a powder right now. Pomegranate. Pomegranate. Remember back in the day, we didn't even call it pomegranate. We called it Chinese apples. You know, pomegranate. Another thing that is really great about pomegranate, that pink color in there, it actually is an anthocyanin. It's really good for helping to protect the arteries. Pomegranate is actually a really good antiviral. So a person who deals with a lower immune system, pomegranate is really good. Pomegranate is excellent for a man's prostate. Excellent for a man's prostate. So any men who are listening to this, you should be doing pomegranate. But pomegranate does something like beets do. Pomegranate naturally helps your body create more what? Nitric oxide. We talked about nitric oxide does what? Dilate your blood vessels. Pomegranate does that. Since it creates more nitric oxide, it reduces the pressure on the arterial walls. So pomegranate is excellent for blood pressure. This is a superfood you can find in a powder form right now. Okay? Number 7, acai berry. Now, we heard of acai berry. It got popular about 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe 7 years ago. Acai berry is a Brazilian berry. It is rich in fiber. It is rich in vitamin C. It is rich in vitamin A. It is pro-anthocyanin in that purple color. Okay? That purple color is a powerful antioxidant, but it also does what? What we talked about? Protect the cardiovascular system. It protects the artery walls. Listen, the key is that you deal with pressure on the arterial walls too much, they become rigid. As they become rigid, as anything else, if it become rigid, those things become more easily damaged. One of the things when building tall skyscrapers, one of the things you want the skyscraper to be able to flow with the wind a little bit. You may not feel it when you're up there, but they design it to flow with the wind. If it's rigid, it's more than likely that skyscraper over time will break down because the wind will slowly but surely bend and break it. When it comes down to dealing with your arteries, you want your arteries to be flexible. You don't want them to be rigid. Goji, acai, pomegranate, beet, all these things help keep elasticity to the arterial walls. So acai is really good. We just said goji. Goji is another good one too. Another excellent antioxidant fruit that protects the heart and keeps the blood pressure under control. Marquis powder. I'm gonna give you this one. I'm gonna have to give you a spelling to this one. MAQUI. It's like a acai berry. Excellent. You can find this in your health food stores. Really good berry to add to your smoothies, add to your water, anything like that. Just another great superfood that's really good for blood pressure. And number 10, I'm gonna either give you hemp seed or chia seed. Hemp seed or chia seed. I didn't put flax up because flax is great for it, but hemp and chia is better. We already talked about the benefits of antioxidants, whereas chia and hemp has a large amount of antioxidants in there. It's high in omega-3s. We talked about how omega-3s keep cholesterol down, help keep inflammation down, and help balance the blood pressure a little bit and help relax the heart. These plants also really rich in fiber and all those things like that. So hemp seed and chia seed, that's the number 10 superfood that you can use right now for helping to control your blood pressure. So let's go through this again. We're going to go through the top 10 for helping you control your blood pressure in superfoods that you can find in a health food store right now. Cacao, number 1. Number 2 is beet powder. Number 3 is moringa. Number 4 is baobab. Number 5 is spirulina. Number 6 is pomegranate. Number 7 is acai berry. Number 8 is goji berry. Number 9 is marquis powder. And number 10 is hemp seed or flaxseed. Or hemp seed, and chia seed. Those are the top 10 superfoods that can help you right now with your blood pressure. Now, before I go on to the top 10 herbs/supplements, I want you to ask me any questions. Do you have any questions right now that you want to ask me? Anybody got a question?
I do.
Talk to me before we go on.
Now, you said beet powder. What about just having beets?
I talked about that. So when you have beets, eating the beets is excellent. No, eating the beets are good. Juicing the beets is better. The nitric oxide that's created from the beets, most of it happens in the oral cavity. You have probiotics in your mouth, you have probiotics in the mouth that actually start to break down these nitrates that's found in the actual beets that helps the body create nitric oxide. You want to drink it. I said powder because powder you mix it with water and it's going to be a part of the oral cavity. When you eat the beets, the only issue with eating it is that most of the nutrition is going to be locked in the fiber, even though you're going to chew it. So the best way is juicing it. The next way is a powder. The third way is eating it.